The bell above the door of the North End diner chimes, a cheerful, tinny sound that cuts through the low hum of conversation and the sizzle of burgers on the grill. It's a sound I usually welcome, a punctuation mark in the long, droning sentence of my shift. But not today. Not when the man who walks in casts a shadow that feels like it could swallow the entire city block. I keep my head down. My job, my entire existence in Boston, is built on the principle of invisibility. I am Lily the waitress. I pour coffee. I take orders. I wipe down sticky tables. I am pleasant, forgettable, and utterly anonymous. My hands, which once turned the fragile 1,000-year-old pages of forgotten manuscripts, now grip a damp rag. My mind, which once wrestled with dead languages and ancient ciphers, now just needs to remember who gets the side of fries and who wants the coleslaw. This is my penance. This is my sanctuary. But the sanctuary is being breached. The air in the diner changes. The chatter falters, then dies completely, replaced by the scrape of a chair, the clink of a fork against a plate. It's a silence born not of peace, but of fear. The kind of thick, heavy silence that only follows in the wake of absolute power. I don't need to look up to know who it is. Roman Varelli. The name is a whisper on the streets of Boston, a ghost story told to scare rivals, a prayer on the lips of those who owe him. He owns things, businesses, politicians, people. He is the uncrowned king of this city's shadowed corners, and his kingdom is built on secrets and blood. Men like him are the reason I am here, hiding in plain sight. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. Don't look. Don't be seen. You are nobody. The mantra has kept me safe for 2 years. I focus on the stubborn ring of coffee on the counter, scrubbing with a ferocity that makes my knuckles white. The scent of bleach and stale coffee fills my nose, grounding me. Heavy, expensive shoes stop on the other side of the counter. They are polished to a mirror shine, reflecting the flickering fluorescent lights above. I can smell him. A clean, sharp scent of bergamot and something darker, like cedarwood and cold night air. It's a scent that doesn't belong here, among the grease and burnt sugar. It's the scent of wealth and danger. Coffee, a voice says. It's low, a gravelly rumble that vibrates through the worn linoleum floor and up into my bones. It's not a request. It's a command. My coworker, Maria, usually so bold and chatty, is frozen solid near the milkshake machine, her eyes wide. The cook in the back has gone silent. The entire world has shrunk to this space between me and those immaculate leather shoes. My hands tremble as I reach for a clean mug. My gaze is locked on the counter. The brown formica, the swirl of my rag, the gleaming steel of the sugar dispenser. Anything but him. I can feel his eyes on me, a physical weight on the top of my head. He's watching me, and I don't know why. I'm just a waitress. There are a dozen other people in here. I pour the coffee. The black liquid sloshes, a dark, unsteady tremor that mirrors the one in my soul. I slide the mug across the counter, keeping my eyes fixed on its journey. It stops a few inches from his hand, a large hand with long, capable fingers and a heavy, simple gold ring on his pinky. He doesn't take the mug. The silence stretches, taut and unbearable. Look at me. The words are quiet, almost gentle, but they land like a physical blow. My breath catches in my throat. This is it. The moment I've dreaded for 2 years. Being seen. Being noticed by the wrong kind of person. In Boston, you don't look at men like Roman Varelli. You don't draw their attention. You pray they pass you by like a storm in the night. My head stays down. A small, pathetic act of defiance. Maybe if I don't, he'll lose interest. He'll drink his coffee and leave. I won't ask again. There's a new edge to his voice now, the quiet suggestion of steel. It's the voice of a man who is never, ever ignored. Slowly, reluctantly, as if my neck were made of rusted gears, I lift my head, and I look at him. The ghost stories don't do him justice. He's younger than I expected, maybe in his early 30s. His face is all harsh lines and sharp angles, a sculpture carved from unforgiving stone. High cheekbones, a straight nose, a jaw that could cut glass. His hair is thick and black as a raven's wing, styled with a casual precision that speaks of immense effort made to look effortless. But it's his eyes that hold me captive. They are the color of dark, aged whiskey, and they are fixed on me with an unnerving, predatory intensity. They see too much. They look at me not like I'm a waitress, but like I'm a puzzle he's finally found the last piece for. A flicker of something I can't name passes through those eyes. Recognition? No, that's impossible. He couldn't know me. No one knows me. My past is a ghost. I buried it. I buried Lily Pierce, the promising academic, the doctoral candidate in historical linguistics. I buried the girl whose life was stolen by a lie. The woman who stands here is nameless, faceless. She has to be. He leans forward slightly, his forearms resting on the counter. The movement is fluid, graceful, like a panther settling in for the kill. The diner, with its cheap vinyl and buzzing lights, seems to warp around him, a flimsy stage for his much grander, more dangerous reality. "I've been looking for you," he says, his voice a low confidence that no one else can hear. Panic, cold and sharp, stabs through me. I think you have the wrong person," I stammer, my own voice a pathetic squeak. "I'm just a waitress." A corner of his mouth quirks up, a ghost of a smile that holds no warmth. "No, I don't." He gestures vaguely with his chin towards the empty diner. "Everyone else can go. My men will take care of their tabs." As if summoned by his will, two other men, built like mountains in tailored suits, move from the entrance. They speak in low tones to the few remaining customers who scramble to their feet, grabbing coats and bags, not even daring to look in our direction. Maria is gently but firmly escorted towards the back, her face a mask of terror. In less than a minute, the diner is empty. It's just me and him, and the two sentinels at the door. The cheerful bell is silent. The sizzle of the grill has stopped. The world I built for myself has just been dismantled in under 60 seconds. "What do you want?" I ask, my voice trembling but gaining a sliver of strength. If I'm going to be cornered, I won't go down whimpering. He studies my face, his gaze so intense it feels like he's peeling back my skin, layer by layer, searching for the person I've tried so hard to hide. "I have a problem," he says simply. "A piece of my family's history, a legacy. It's complicated, written down, but in a way that no one can understand. My blood runs cold, written down, in a way no one can understand. Oh God, no, it can't be." "I don't know what you're talking about," I lie, my hands gripping the edge of the counter so tightly my fingers ache. "Don't you?" His gaze drops to my hands, to my fingers, stained with ink that never quite washes out, no matter how much I scrub. A nervous habit I've never been able to break, doodling symbols and letters on napkins when I think no one is watching. Ancient symbols, forgotten alphabets, my own private language of grief for a life I lost. He saw, he must have seen. Someone saw and told him. "My people are very thorough," he continues, as if reading my thoughts. "They heard whispers of a woman, a brilliant mind in linguistics, who disappeared from the academic world 2 years ago after a professional disagreement. A woman who could read things no one else could. They tracked you here, to this diner, to Lily." He says my name, my real name, and it's like a key turning in a lock I'd forgotten existed. The walls I've built around myself crumble to dust. I am Lily Pierce again, and I am in more danger than I have ever been in my life. "I can't help you," I whisper, the words tasting like ash. "That person doesn't exist anymore." "She does," he says, his voice dropping, becoming strangely intimate, persuasive. It's a terrifying shift. "She has to. Because, Lily Pierce, you're the only one who can help me." He pushes off the counter, his presence filling the small space, overwhelming my senses. He's not asking. He's telling me. My life as a waitress, My quiet, anonymous, safe existence is over. He has found me. And I have the sinking, horrifying feeling that Roman Varelli never lets go of something he wants. I looked into the abyss, and the abyss looked back, knew my name, and decided it needed me. My carefully constructed invisibility has just become a spotlight, and I am trapped in its glare. He doesn't wait for my answer. He knows he doesn't need one. One of the mountains by the door moves, holding out my thin, worn coat. The gesture is polite, almost gentlemanly, but it's an order. My time here is done. My name is Roman Varelli, he says, though he knows I already know. You will be coming with me. We have work to do. My legs feel like lead, but somehow I move. I slide out from behind the counter, the familiar space now feeling alien and unsafe. I shrug on my coat, my movements stiff and jerky. The man, Roman, watches me, his whiskey-colored eyes tracking my every falter. He doesn't touch me, but I feel his claim on me as surely as if he'd branded my skin. Outside, the Boston evening is cool and damp. A black town car, so sleek and polished it seems to drink the light from the street lamps, is idling at the curb. The other mountain opens the back door. The interior is a cavern of plush black leather and silence. I hesitate on the sidewalk. I can run. I could scream. But to where? And who would help me against him? The street is empty. The windows of the neighboring apartments dark. He has emptied my world, and now he is offering me a new one. A cage, no matter how gilded. Get in, Lily, Roman says from behind me. His voice is patient, but it's the patience of a predator that knows its prey is already caught. I take a breath that does nothing to calm the frantic beating of my heart and slide into the car. The door closes with a heavy, final-sounding thud, sealing me inside with him. The car pulls away from the curb, leaving the diner, my life, my 2 years of carefully guarded peace, shrinking in the rearview mirror until it's just another light in the city, and then nothing at all. The silence in the car is heavier than the silence in the diner. It's insulated, absolute. The city slides by the tinted windows, a silent film of lights and motion. I sit as far from him as the seat will allow, my body rigid, my hands clenched in my lap. Where are you taking me? I finally ask, my voice small in the vast quiet. Home, he says, and the word is so loaded, so possessive, it makes my skin crawl. My home. You'll be safe there. You'll have everything you need to do the work. And if I refuse to work? I challenge, a spark of my old self, the defiant academic flaring to life. He turns his head to look at me, and in the dim light of the cabin, his eyes seem to glow. Everyone has something they want to protect, Lily. A favorite coffee shop. An elderly landlord who asks no questions. A quiet life. I can be very good at protecting things, or I can be very good at taking them away. The choice of which service you require is yours, but you will do the work. The threat is veiled in courtesy, but it's as clear as a knife to the throat. He knows about Mrs. Gable, my sweet, forgetful landlord. He knows about the diner. He's had me watched, cataloged, understood. My life hasn't been my own for weeks, maybe months. I was a specimen under a microscope, and I never even knew. The illusion of my freedom shatters completely. We drive for what feels like an eternity, crossing a bridge over the dark, churning water of the Charles River. The car heads for the waterfront, towards the new, gleaming glass towers that scrape the sky, monuments to new money and sharp edges. The car descends into a private parking garage, through 3 sets of security gates, until we stop in a reserved spot beside a sleek, dark gray sports car that probably costs more than my entire life's earnings. Another man, this one leaner, but with the same watchful stillness as the others, opens my door. He has silver at his temples and a scar that cuts through his left eyebrow. He nods at Roman. Dante, everything is ready. Good, Roman says, getting out of the car. He looks at me. Come. I follow him into a private elevator. Dante gets in with us, his presence a silent, looming guard. Roman presses a button marked simply PH. There are no other floors listed. The elevator ascends with a smooth, silent speed that makes my stomach swoop. The doors open directly into a living space that is less an apartment and more a palace in the sky. The floor-to-ceiling windows on 3 sides offer a breathtaking, godlike view of Boston. The city lights are a glittering carpet spread out below us. The furniture is minimalist and modern, all clean lines, dark wood, and chrome. But the scale is immense. A huge, low-slung sofa, a fireplace that is a sheer wall of black marble, and art on the walls that I recognize as museum quality. It is beautiful, sterile, and utterly intimidating. It's a showcase, not a home. Dante will show you to your room, Roman says, already shrugging off his jacket and tossing it onto a chair. He walks towards a wall of windows, his back to me, looking down at the city he owns. We'll talk in the morning. Rest. You look like you're about to collapse. He's right. The adrenaline that has been keeping me upright is draining away, leaving behind a bone-deep exhaustion and a hollow, trembling fear. Dante gestures for me to follow him down a long, white hallway. The floors are polished concrete, and my worn boots make no sound. He stops at a door and pushes it open. The room is larger than my entire apartment. It has its own wall of windows, its own stunning view. A king-sized bed with crisp white linens, a small seating area, and an attached bathroom that looks like it belongs in a 5-star spa. It's luxurious, impersonal, and undeniably a prison cell. Your clothing and other necessities have been provided, Dante says, his voice a low, neutral monotone. The doors lock from the inside. No one will enter without your permission. But you are not to leave this floor without Mr. Varelli's express consent. A private chef is on staff. You may request meals at any time. Any questions? I shake my head, unable to form words. He gives a slight, almost imperceptible nod. Mr. Varelli will expect you in his study at 9 tomorrow morning. He pulls the door closed, and I hear the soft, electronic click of the lock engaging from the outside. I'm alone. I walk on numb legs to the window and press my forehead against the cool glass. The city glitters below, beautiful and indifferent. I can see the lights of the North End, a small cluster in the distance. I can almost imagine my tiny apartment, my lumpy mattress, the familiar creak of the floorboards. It feels 1,000,000 miles away, a different lifetime. Tears I didn't know I was holding back begin to stream down my face. They are not tears of sadness, but of sheer, overwhelming terror. I am trapped. The ghost of Lily Pierce has been resurrected, dragged from her shallow grave to serve a king in a glass castle. And I know, with a certainty that chills me to the marrow, that my life will never be my own again. The first night is sleepless. I lie in the enormous bed, the sheets feeling like silk and ice against my skin, and stare at the unfamiliar ceiling. Every creak of the building, every distant city sound that penetrates this high-altitude silence, sends a fresh jolt of fear through me. I am a mouse in a lion's den, and the lion is sleeping just down the hall. When morning comes, it's not with a gentle dawn, but with a mechanical hum as automated blinds retract, flooding the room with stark, brilliant sunlight. The view is even more intimidating in the daylight, the city sprawling and immense. I feel exposed, perched on display for the entire world to see. In the closet, I find a curated wardrobe of clothes in my size. Simple, elegant pieces in muted colors, cashmere sweaters, tailored trousers, silk blouses. Nothing like my own worn jeans and faded t-shirts. It's another layer of his control, dressing me up like a doll for the part he wants me to play. I choose the simplest outfit I can find, a pair of black pants and a gray sweater. It feels like a costume. At precisely 9 o'clock, I walk out of my room. The hallway is silent. I follow it back to the main living area, my heart pounding a nervous rhythm against my ribs. I find my way to a set of large, dark wood doors that I assume lead to his study. I raise a trembling hand and knock. Come in. His voice is muffled but clear. I push the door open and step inside. The study is as impressive and intimidating as the rest of the penthouse. One wall is another sheet of glass overlooking the harbor. Another is filled floor to ceiling with books, real books with leather spines and gold lettering, not the decorative kind. In the center of the room is a massive desk of the same dark wood as the doors, its surface nearly empty except for a laptop and a single, leather-bound book. Roman is standing by the window, a mug in his hand, looking out at the water. He's dressed in dark trousers and a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his forearms, revealing tanned, muscular skin and the edge of a dark, intricate tattoo. He turns as I enter, and his whiskey-colored eyes pin me in place. "Good morning, Lily," he says. "Did you sleep well?" "No," I answer honestly. The lie feels pointless with him. He gives that same, humorless quirk of his lips. "I didn't expect you to. It will take time to adjust. Coffee?" He gestures to a high-end espresso machine on a side counter. I shake my head. My nerves are already frayed enough without adding caffeine to the mix. He walks to the desk and gestures for me to approach. I move cautiously, my shoes silent on the plush, dark rug. I feel like I'm approaching a sacrificial altar. He lays a hand on the leather-bound book on the desk. It's old. The dark brown leather cracked and worn at the edges. A simple embossed crest is on the cover, a winged lion holding a sword. "This," he says, his voice taking on a new gravity, "is the problem." He opens it. The pages are thick, yellowed with age, and covered in dense, spidery handwriting. My breath catches. It's not just one language, it's a chaotic, brilliant mix. The base looks like an archaic Corsican dialect, but it's interwoven with what looks like symbols from medieval alchemy and a numerical cipher I've never seen before. It's a linguistic nightmare, a beautiful, impossible puzzle. The academic in me, the part I thought was long dead, stirs with a flicker of pure, unadulterated excitement. This is a masterpiece of cryptography, a work of paranoid genius. Then the fear rushes back in, extinguishing the spark. This book belongs to a Mafia boss. Its secrets are likely written in blood. "It was my father's," Roman says, his gaze fixed on the script, a muscle twitching in his jaw. "His private ledger. He was meticulous. He didn't trust banks. He didn't trust his own family. He trusted only this book. He was murdered 10 years ago. They said it was a rival family, a deal gone wrong. I never believed it." He looks up at me, and for a fleeting moment, the mask of the ruthless Don slips, and I see a flicker of something else in his eyes, the raw, unhealed grief of a son who lost his father. "I believe the truth of what happened to him is in here," he continues, his voice low and intense. "Along with the location of everything he built, everything that was stolen from me when he died. I've had 3 different experts look at this, a historian, a cryptographer from an Ivy League university, a retired intelligence analyst. None of them could make sense of it. They said it was gibberish. But my source who found you said you specialized in dead languages and complex semiotic systems. He said if anyone could read this, it was you. So this is it. The reason he's upended my life. He needs a translator for a ghost. What makes you think I can do what they couldn't?" I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. "Because this isn't just an academic exercise for you, is it?" he says, his perception once again unnerving me. "For you, language is a living thing. You feel it. I saw the way you looked at this book just now. You saw the puzzle, not the payment." He pauses. "I will pay you, of course. Handsomely. When you are finished, you will have enough money to disappear anywhere in the world, to start a new life far away from here, with a new identity that no one will ever trace. You will be free. Free." The word hangs in the air between us, a tempting, poisonous fruit. But I know it's a lie. People like me don't get to be free of people like him. Not really. "And my other option?" I ask quietly. His expression hardens. "I told you, there is no other option. You will do this. I will give you anything you need. Books, resources, access to any database. You will work here, in this study. You will not speak of this to anyone. Dante will be your only point of contact besides me. Is that clear?" I look from his unyielding face to the impossible script in the book. My mind is already starting to work, to see the patterns, the repetition of certain symbols, the grammatical structure trying to assert itself through the chaos. It's a siren song, pulling me in despite the danger. This is my curse. This burning, insatiable curiosity. It's what led me to my downfall in the academic world, and now it's leading me into this one. Clear, I say, the word tasting like surrender. Good. He closes the book, the sound echoing in the silent room. Then let's begin. The days that follow fall into a strange, surreal rhythm. My world shrinks to the confines of the penthouse, and more specifically, to the silent, book-lined study. Roman leaves in the morning, a dark, silent wraith disappearing into the elevator with Dante, and returns late at night. We barely speak. Our interactions are limited to a curt nod in the evening, or the silent sharing of a meal at the massive dining table, the space between us a yawning chasm. He holds up his end of the bargain. Any book I request appears on my desk within hours. Any database I need access to is provided without question. I work with a feverish intensity, partly because the puzzle of the ledger consumes me, and partly because work is the only thing that keeps the terror at bay. I spend hours staring at the spidery script, cross-referencing, making notes, filling pages of notebooks with theories and dead ends. The Corsican dialect is the easy part. I'd studied it as part of my dissertation research on endangered Mediterranean languages. But the cipher is something else entirely. It's personal, idiosyncratic. It's a code created by one man for his eyes only. To break it, I don't just need to understand linguistics. I need to understand him, Roman's father. Tell me about him, I say one evening. Roman is home early, standing by the window in the study, a glass of whiskey in his hand. The setting sun paints the sky in fiery strokes of orange and purple. He turns, surprised by my question. We haven't spoken a personal word in a week. Why? The code isn't logical, it's emotional, I explain, pushing a strand of hair from my face. I'm exhausted, my eyes burning from staring at the pages. It's tied to his life, his memories, dates, names, places. I'm just guessing in the dark. I need to know what was important to him, what he loved, what he feared. He is silent for a long time, swirling the amber liquid in his glass. The ice clinks, the only sound in the room. I think he's going to refuse. He was a hard man, Roman says finally, his voice rough. He came from nothing, from a small village in the Corsican mountains. He built all of this. He gestures vaguely at the opulent room, at the city beyond the glass. He loved my mother. She died when I was 12. After that, the ledger became his only confidant. He trusted no one, not even me, not completely. What about his brother? I ask, remembering the whispers I'd pieced together from some of the decoded phrases. A name. Marco. Roman's body goes rigid. His knuckles are white where he grips the glass. My uncle. Marco. My father's right hand. He was with my father the night he was killed. He was the only survivor. The unspoken accusation hangs in the air, thick and heavy. I need dates. I press gently. Your mother's birthday. The day she died. Your birthday. The names of the villages he came from. Anything. He walks to the desk and pulls a pen from a drawer. On a clean sheet of paper, he writes down a series of dates and names in a sharp, controlled script. He pushes the paper towards me without a word, then turns and leaves the study, the glass of whiskey untouched on the desk. I look down at the list. It's a key. A small, intimate glimpse into the life of the man who created this puzzle. And it's the first time Roman has shown me anything beyond the cold, commanding facade. A crack in the armor, a tiny, fragile sliver of vulnerability. Using the dates, I make a breakthrough. The numerical cipher is based on a sequence related to his wife's life. Her birthday, their anniversary, the day she died. It's a tribute, a memorial hidden within a document of crime and money. It's a love letter disguised as a ledger. Slowly, painstakingly, the gibberish begins to transform into words. Names of offshore accounts, locations of safe houses. But more importantly, a narrative begins to emerge. A story of growing paranoia, of watching his own brother, Marco, making deals behind his back. The entries become more frantic in the weeks leading up to his death. Marco meets with the Russians. Without my knowledge, he sells our future for a pittance. He is a snake in my garden. The book is a testament to a man who knew he was going to be betrayed. He was documenting his own murder. One evening, the sterile peace of the penthouse is shattered. I am in the study, deep in concentration, when I hear raised voices from the living area. One is Roman's, low and guttural with anger. The other is a woman's, sharp and petulant. Curiosity gets the better of me. I creep to the study door and crack it open a hair. A woman I've never seen before is standing in the middle of the living room. She is stunningly beautiful, with long dark hair and a dress that looks like it was sewn onto her perfect figure. She gestures dramatically, her bracelets jangling. "I don't understand why you're shutting me out, Roman," she says, her voice dripping with frustration. "And who is this person you have locked away in here? Dante is like a statue. He won't say a word." "Isabella, this has nothing to do with you," Roman says, his voice dangerously calm. "It's business." "Everything you do is my business. My father is worried about you. You've been distracted, distant. He says you're chasing ghosts." My father. The words hit me like a stone. This must be Isabella, Marco's daughter. My blood runs cold. She is the snake's daughter, standing in the heart of his kingdom. Does she know what he's doing? Is she a part of it? "My business is my own," Roman grits out. "And I don't appreciate your father sending you here to spy on me." "Spying? I came because I care about you," she insists, stepping closer to him, placing a hand on his arm. He doesn't move, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. "Roman, whatever this is, let it go. Let my father help you. We are family." Roman looks down at her hand on his arm, his expression unreadable. Then he looks up and his gaze sweeps the room, landing directly on the crack in the study door. Directly on me. My heart stops. He knows I'm here. He knows I'm listening. For a terrifying second, I see a flash of pure fury in his eyes. But then, it's gone, replaced by a cold, calculating mask. He gently removes Isabella's hand from his arm. "You should go, Isabella," he says, his voice flat. "I'm busy." He turns his back on her and walks towards the study, towards me. Isabella lets out a frustrated cry and storms towards the elevator, her heels clicking angrily on the concrete floor. I scramble back from the door as it swings open. Roman fills the doorway, his presence immense, his face a thundercloud. I brace myself for his anger, for the verbal lashing I deserve for eavesdropping. But it doesn't come. He just looks at me, his eyes searching my face. "Did you hear all that?" he asks. I nod, unable to speak. "Her father is Marco," he states, not a question. He is getting nervous. He knows I'm looking for something. He doesn't know what, but he knows I'm close. He sent her to find out what you're doing here. "She saw me," I whisper, my voice shaking. "She knows someone is here." "She saw a shadow," he corrects me, stepping into the room and closing the door behind him. "But it's enough. They'll be more aggressive now." He runs a hand through his hair, a rare sign of agitation. "This complicates things." He begins to pace the length of the study, a caged tiger. "I shouldn't have brought you here. It was a mistake. It's put you in danger." The words are a shock. It's the first time he's expressed any concern for my well-being that wasn't tied to my ability to do the work. It's a protective act, a verbal one, but it lands with more force than any physical gesture could. He's worried about me, not the asset, me. "It's too late for that," I say, finding my voice. "I'm already in it. The only way out is forward. We have to finish it." He stops pacing and looks at me, a new light in his eyes. Respect, maybe? "You're not afraid," he says, a note of wonder in his voice. "I'm terrified," I admit, my heart still hammering. But she's the daughter of the man who murdered your father, who betrayed your family. Letting her scare me off feels wrong. We have to prove it. For him. I gesture to the ledger on the desk. For the ghost whose words I've been living with for weeks. Roman stares at me for a long, silent moment. The space between us hums with a new, unfamiliar energy. The dynamic has shifted. I am no longer just his prisoner, his tool. I have made a choice. I have aligned myself with him, with his quest. I have become a partner. He walks over to the desk and picks up the glass of whiskey he abandoned earlier. He drains it in one swallow. "All right, Lily Pierce," he says, his voice a low, determined growl. "Let's finish it." The threat is no longer abstract. It has a face and a name. Isabella. Marco. The tension in the penthouse ratchets up to an almost unbearable level. Dante's presence becomes more constant, a silent shadow always just at the edge of my vision. The locks on the doors, once a symbol of my imprisonment, now feel like a necessary shield. Roman's demeanor changes as well. The cold distance is replaced by a restless, protective energy. He spends more time in the study with me, not speaking, just sitting in one of the leather armchairs, watching me work as if his presence alone could keep the dangers at bay. The silence between us is different now. It's not empty. It's charged. A shared secret. A shared purpose. A shared danger. One night, a storm rolls in off the Atlantic, battering the glass walls of the penthouse with sheets of rain. The wind howls, a mournful, angry sound. The city lights below are blurred and distorted by the water streaming down the windows. It feels as if the sky is reflecting the turmoil inside me. I'm close. I can feel it. I've deciphered most of the ledger, piecing together the damning narrative of Marco's betrayal. All that remains is the final entry. It's different from the others. A single page, written in a more frantic, desperate hand, with a new layer of code I can't break. It's the key to everything, I'm sure of it. The final piece of proof. Suddenly the lights flicker once, twice, and then die. The entire penthouse is plunged into an abrupt, shocking darkness. The hum of the climate control, the soft glow of my computer screen, the distant city, all gone. The only light is the occasional terrifying flash of lightning that illuminates the room in stark, ghostly white, followed by a deafening crack of thunder that shakes the tower to its foundations. I gasp, my heart leaping into my throat. The darkness is absolute, disorienting. "Lily?" Roman's voice cuts through the black, close. He was in the room with me. I'd almost forgotten. "I'm here," I say, my voice a shaky whisper. I hear a soft rustle of movement, and then his hand finds my arm. His touch is firm, grounding. A jolt of electricity, entirely different from the storm outside, shoots through me. "The building's backup generator should have kicked in," he says, his voice a low murmur near my ear. His breath is warm against my skin. Something's wrong. Another flash of lightning. I see his face, inches from mine. His expression is tight, alert. He's not looking at the storm. He's listening. "Dante is on the main level. He would have called," he says, his voice barely audible over the wind. "The lines must be cut." Sabotage. The word hangs unspoken between us. This isn't the storm. This is Marco. He's making his move. Fear, cold and sharp, grips me. We are trapped. Blind. The fortress has been breached. "Stay behind me," Roman orders, his hand still gripping my arm. He begins to move slowly, cautiously, through the pitch-black study, pulling me with him. His body is a warm, solid presence in the terrifying darkness. I've never felt so vulnerable, and yet, with his hand on my arm, a strange sense of safety permeates the fear. I trust him. The realization is as shocking as the power outage. I trust this dangerous, enigmatic man to protect me. He leads me out of the study and into the main living area. The vast space is a black hole, the rain-streaked windows offering no light, only a blurry, chaotic view of the storm. "We need to get to the safe room," he whispers. Of course he has a safe room. He pulls me towards the black marble fireplace. He fumbles along the edge in the dark, then I hear a soft click. A section of the wall beside the fireplace swings inward with a pneumatic hiss, revealing a dark, narrow opening. He pushes me gently towards it. "Get inside." "What about you?" I protest, my hand clutching his shirt. "I need to find Dante. Get a weapon. Go. Lock it from the inside. There's a panel on the left. Don't open it for anyone but me." His voice is steel, an absolute command. Another brilliant flash of lightning illuminates the room, and in that split second, I see it. The main elevator doors, across the vast living space, are slowly sliding open, and there are figures standing inside. Roman sees it too. He shoves me hard into the opening of the safe room. "Now, Lily!" I stumble inside. I turn and see his silhouette as he draws a handgun from a hidden compartment under the mantelpiece, the metal gleaming in the next flash of lightning. He's a specter of violence, ready to defend his lair. My hands scramble in the darkness of the safe room, finding the control panel he described. My fingers close over a large, flat button. I hesitate, my heart tearing in two. I can't leave him out there. "Lily, lock the door," he roars, and his voice is an animalistic snarl of desperation. I slam my hand on the button. The heavy steel door slides shut, sealing me in absolute silence and darkness. I'm safe. And he is out there, facing them alone. The safe room is small, cold, and smells of concrete and steel. A single emergency light flickers on, casting a dim red glow over the space. It's empty except for a bench along one wall and a bank of communication equipment. I press my ear to the thick steel door, but I can hear nothing. The silence is more terrifying than the storm. Minutes stretch into an eternity. My mind conjures horrific images. Roman, outnumbered, falling. Blood on the polished concrete floors. Marco, victorious, coming for the ledger, coming for me. I'm pacing the tiny space, my hands clenched into fists, when I remember the ledger. It's still out there, on the desk in the study. The final page. The proof. If they get it, all of this. Roman's risk, my work, the danger we're in. It's all for nothing. And then a new thought, sharp and clear, cuts through the panic. The final entry. The code I couldn't break. A frantic hand. A new layer of code. What if it wasn't meant to be read? What if it was a warning? A final, desperate act? I think of Roman's father. A paranoid genius. A man who documented his own betrayal. What would he do in his final moments? The fireplace. Roman found the safe room panel beside the fireplace. He found a gun under the mantelpiece. The fireplace is the key. My mind races, connecting the dots. The ledger, the strange symbols, the final page. It's not just a code, it's a map, a sequence, and it leads to the fireplace. What if the final entry isn't just information? What if it's an instruction? A loud bang echoes from outside, muffled by the steel door. Gunfire. My heart seizes. I have to do something. I can't just hide in here like a coward while he fights for me. I look at the control panel. The button to open the door is right there. It's suicide. But staying in here, doing nothing, feels like a different kind of death. I take a deep breath. My hand hovers over the button. I am no longer Lily the waitress, hiding from the world. I am no longer just a prisoner. I am his partner. I press the button. The door slides open with a hiss. The emergency light from the safe room spills into the living area. The first thing I see is a man in dark tactical gear lying on the floor, unmoving. The second thing I see is Dante, leaning against a pillar, blood staining his shirt, but holding a gun and covering the elevator. And then I see Roman. He's crouched behind the large sofa, exchanging fire with two other men who are using the kitchen island as cover. The air is thick with the smell of cordite. "Lily, get back inside!" Roman shouts when he sees me, his face a mask of fury and fear. "The ledger!" I scream back over the sound of another gunshot. "The last page. It's the fireplace. It's not a code. It's a sequence." He glances at me, his eyes wide with confusion, then back at the men shooting at him. He's pinned down. I don't think. I just run. Keeping low, I sprint from the safe room, across the open space, and into the study. My heart is a wild drum against my ribs. I expect a bullet in my back at any second. I reach the desk, grab the heavy ledger, and run back, my lungs burning. I slide on the slick floor, coming to a stop behind the sofa next to Roman. He grabs me, pulling me down, his body shielding mine. "What the hell are you doing?" He snarls, his face inches from mine. He's terrified for me. It's written in every line of his face. "Trust me," I pant, flipping the book open to the last page. My fingers are clumsy, shaking. He knew they were coming for him. This is his last will and testament. A final trap. I point to the symbols. They're not letters. They're diagrams, pictures. I trace them with my finger. The lion's head on the mantel. Press the left eye. Then the third brick from the top on the right side. Then the center of the hearthstone. It's a failsafe. He stares at me, then at the page, then at the fireplace. He understands. His father's paranoid genius. A final move from beyond the grave. "Cover me," he says to Dante. Dante gives a grim nod. Roman looks at me one last time. "Stay down," he orders. Then he moves. He's a blur of motion, low and fast, sprinting from the sofa to the fireplace. The two gunmen redirect their fire towards him, bullets sparking off the marble wall. I watch, my breath held, as he follows the sequence I gave him. He presses a spot on the carved lion's head. He slams his hand against a brick. He stomps his foot on the hearthstone. For a second, nothing happens. Then, with a deep, grinding roar, a section of the chimney above the mantel explodes outward. A cloud of thick, white gas billows into the room. A fast-acting knockout agent, I realize. Roman, anticipating it, has already dropped to the floor, covering his mouth and nose with his sleeve. I hear coughing, then two dull thuds as the gunmen collapse. Silence. The only sound is the howling wind and the ragged sound of my own breathing. Roman gets to his feet slowly, kicking the weapons away from the unconscious men. Dante moves to check on them, securing their hands. Roman comes back to the sofa. He crouches in front of me, his gun hanging loosely at his side. His face is smudged with soot, his eyes blazing with an intensity that takes my breath away. He reaches out, his hand shaking slightly, and cups my face. His thumb gently strokes my cheek. "You saved my life," he whispers, his voice thick with awe and something else. Something deep and profound. "You saved mine first," I reply, my voice barely audible. The space between us shrinks. The fear, the gunfire, the storm outside, it all fades away. There is only the warmth of his hand on my skin, the fierce protectiveness in his eyes, the undeniable truth of what just happened. We faced death together, and we won. He leans in, and his lips meet mine. It's not a gentle kiss. It's fierce, desperate, a confirmation of life in the face of death. It's gratitude and possession and 1,000 unspoken things all at once. It tastes of smoke and whiskey and the storm. I kiss him back with everything I have, my hands coming up to grip his shirt. In the ruins of his perfect penthouse, surrounded by his enemies, I am not his prisoner. I am not his employee. I am his. And in a way that terrifies and thrills me, he is mine. The barriers are gone, burned away in the heat of the fight. This is the turning point. There is no going back. The aftermath is a controlled, quiet chaos. Dante, despite the wound in his shoulder, efficiently directs a cleanup crew of Roman's men who appear as silently as ghosts. The unconscious gunmen are removed, the power is restored, and the evidence of the fight is scrubbed away until the penthouse is once again pristine and sterile. It's as if the violence never happened, but the air is permanently changed. It crackles with the memory, Roman takes me to my room. He dismisses my protests and finds the first aid kit in my spa-like bathroom. He gently cleans a scrape on my arm I hadn't even noticed I'd gotten, his touch surprisingly tender. His focus is absolute, his large hands careful and precise. "You were reckless," he says, his voice a low rumble, but there's no anger in it, only a deep, lingering fear. "You could have been killed." "So could you," I counter softly. "We were a team." He looks up at me, his whiskey eyes dark and serious. He finishes taping the bandage on my arm, and his hand lingers there, his thumb stroking my skin. The simple touch sends a shiver through me. "No one has ever done that for me," he says, his voice rough with emotion. "No one has ever stood with me like that. Not since my father." This is his vulnerable revelation, the true one, not just the story of his father's death, but the admission of the profound loneliness that followed. He is the king, but the throne is a solitary place. "I told you," I whisper. "The only way out is forward." He stands up, pulling me with him. We're standing in the middle of my room, the lights of the city once again a perfect, glittering backdrop. The storm has passed, leaving the air clean and the night sky clear. "The ledger is complete," I say, the practical part of my brain kicking back in. "You have your proof. The final page wasn't just the failsafe. The symbols, they correspond to numbers. A bank account in the Cayman Islands. It holds all the money Marco siphoned from the family before the betrayal. It's all there. The motive, the means, everything." He nods slowly, his gaze never leaving my face. "I know. You gave me back my father's legacy. You gave me justice." "So what happens now?" I ask, the question hanging between us, heavy with unspoken possibilities. "The job is done. Our contract is fulfilled. Now," he says, his voice dropping, "I deal with my uncle." There is a chilling finality in his tone. Marco's fate is sealed. And then you have a choice to make. He steps back, putting a small but significant distance between us. The possessive heat of a moment ago is replaced by a formal gravity. "My offer still stands," he says. "A new identity. Enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. A plane ticket to anywhere in the world. You would be free. No one from my world would ever bother you again. I will give you my word." He is offering me the very thing I thought I wanted more than anything, an escape, a return to anonymity, a clean slate. 2 weeks ago, I would have wept with gratitude. But looking at him now, at this complex, dangerous, and unexpectedly vulnerable man who has turned my entire world upside down, the thought of leaving feels like an amputation. The quiet life I was hiding in seems gray and lifeless compared to the vibrant, terrifying world I've shared with him. "And the other choice?" I ask, my voice barely a whisper. He takes a step closer again, his eyes searching mine for any sign of hesitation, of fear. "The other choice is to stay, not as my employee, not as my prisoner." He pauses, and the raw vulnerability is back in his eyes, more potent than ever before. "Stay with me, Lily, as my partner, in this." He gestures around at the glass castle, the city, the empire he commands. "And in everything else." It's not a declaration of love, not in the traditional sense. There are no flowers, no poetry. It's something rawer, more real. A proposal of alliance, a sharing of power, a new pact, forged in violence and sealed with a kiss. He is offering me a throne beside his. My mind flashes back to my old life. The dusty libraries, the academic backstabbing, the lonely apartment, the endless, greasy smell of the diner. I was hiding, but I wasn't living. I was a ghost long before Roman Varelli ever found me. He brought me back to life. He showed me a side of myself I didn't know existed. A woman who was brave, resourceful, and unafraid to run into the fire. I look at him, at the king of Boston's underworld, who is looking at me as if I hold his entire world in my hands. And I realize I do. He has given me the ultimate power, the choice. What would I even do? I ask, a small, shaky laugh escaping me. I'm a linguist. I know dead languages and ciphers. Your world is different. A genuine smile finally touches his lips. It transforms his harsh face, making him look younger, almost boyish. My world is built on secrets and information, Lily. A woman who can read what no one else can, who can see the patterns everyone else misses. You would not just be my partner, you would be my most dangerous weapon, my queen. Queen. The word settles in my heart, not with the weight of a crown, but with the lightness of belonging. I don't need to think about it. The answer is already there, solid and certain in the center of my being. I close the small distance between us and rise on my toes, pressing my lips to his. This kiss is different from the last one. It's not born of desperation and survival. It's a promise, a choice, a beginning. He wraps his arms around me, pulling me tight against him, a low groan of relief rumbling in his chest. He holds me as if he's been starving and I am the only thing that can satisfy his hunger. When we finally break apart, I look up into his eyes. I'm staying, I say, my voice clear and strong. All the fear is gone, replaced by a thrilling, terrifying certainty. He rests his forehead against mine. Good, he breathes, the word a prayer. Because I was never going to let you go anyway. And I know he's telling the truth, but it no longer feels like a threat. It feels like a promise. My cage has become my kingdom, and the monster has become my anchor. I came to Boston to disappear, to be invisible. But Roman Varelli saw me. And in his world of shadows, he didn't just give me a place to hide. He gave me a place to shine. And for the first time in a very long time, I am not afraid of the light.